Welcome back everyone to today's video. We're going to be looking at the latest. We've currently got pretty hefty storm Claudia over us at the minute. It's causing a lot of disruption, flooding and all sorts. I'm actually having a pretty big hit from it at the minute. 50 miles per hour wind and loads of rain. So it's pretty rough at the moment for a lot of the country. We've got amber weather warnings in place as well. But we are mainly focusing on the cold in this video. And well, there could be some disruptive snow events are looking possible next week. Now it's unlikely, but it is possible. And then after that, it looks like we are going to start getting milder, but there is a chance that we end up staying cold. So we are just going to have to keep an eye on it. So that's what we're going through in today's video. Let's not waste any time. We'll get straight into it. This is the latest GFS run, and we are looking like this. Didn't already know, yellows, oranges and reds is the high pressure, low pressure is the blues and purples. We've currently got low pressure sitting to the south, and that's wrapping them winds around from the east at the minute, bringing this storm. And that's why, and we can't get rid of the storm because we've got the northerly winds trying to come down, so it's just sort of stalling, and that's why it's so wet and windy at the moment. Sorry everyone. Now, as we run through the latest GFS run, high pressure starts to retrogress up towards Greenland, and by next week on Monday and Tuesday, we start to open the door to a much colder northerly direction, northerly winds, should I say. Upper air temperatures next Tuesday, we've got the -5 upper airs covering most of the country, pretty cold. Then we get this low pressure that dives in, possibly bringing a bit of snow for some areas. Then we get quite cold for a while, but then we do break the ridge down. There was some options of that staying, but it looks like we are going to break the ridge down now and go milder for a time. But once again, we are trying to go colder again. The signals of us trying to turn colder again, as we've got this blocking signal at the minute. We'll have a look at the latest GEM. GEM looks like this. So once again, takes the high pressure to Greenland, and we get the winds in from the north. We only go milder by the end, but even by then we are trying to get going cold again. We are going to, with this run, it looks like we're going to try and get the high pressure. It's having a go at getting it back up there, but that low pressure might ruin it, and it's trying to drop the winds back in from the north again. So we know there is chances for us to end up going back cold again, even though the current cold spell doesn't look like it's going to last for long. So all you hoping for snow, there is a chance. Even this next week anyway. AIFS looks like this. Low pressure dives in, bringing some snow to Scotland especially. And we actually keep it cold for quite a while with the AIFS. Could be a bit of winteriness around with that. And eventually we do start to get the winds in from a milder southwesterly direction. ECMWF isn't fully updated yet, but we'll have a look. Once again, that high pressure up towards Greenland, low pressure dives in, and then we start going milder once again next week on Saturday. But there is chances we could end up staying cold. UK Met Office looks like that went by 144 hours. UK Met Office EU looks like that winds in from the north, but we are starting to break it down as well. GFS ensembles from them, based on them GFS runs, look like this. Let me get the precipitation up as well. There we go. Let's put that there. So once again, we are above average at the moment. We are going to be dropping below the average. The average is this red line, which is the 30-year average from 1991 to 2020. We're going to be dropping below average about the -5 upper air temperatures, so it is cold enough to snow. And then we're back around average for the rest after about the 22nd of November. We've got some mild, some cold, so it's going to be a 50-50, I think. So this is going to go something like this, I think. And then it's either going to do this up there, like that. There will be ups and downs, but this is a brief thing. Or it'll do that. It's going to do one of them. At the minute, it's 50-50 completely. It could go any way. GEM, once again, this is for London, by the way, shows that concept of the 50-50. Cold again there. And then we are once again mild, some mild there, some cold there. No one knows where it's going to go at the minute. Things can develop in days, so we could end up seeing a crazy cold beast from the east start popping up. Well, it could do. It won't. It probably won't, but it could do. And we could also see a heat wave, so anything can happen. Really, AIFS once again. We actually try to keep the cold once again. It's a bit of a 50-50 there. It's 50-50 really. Then we do start to maybe try and go milder by the end, but that is the default setup. That is towards December, so we don't take any notice of that. This is is it updated yet? It's tried to. This is the latest ECMWF run based on the one that you've just seen, and this is the latest update. See if there's any snow around. So here we go. Next week we get them northerly winds in. We get some snow into Scotland. That low pressure dives in. Significant snow event for Scotland. Maybe a bit over the Welsh mountains. There is actually a bit there that comes quite further south. Manchester, Stoke-on-Trent, Northern England. There is some snow there. Take a look at that. Take a look. Obviously, that low pressure is not going to be there. That could be anywhere. So, I mean, there has been runs where the low pressure comes just clips south. There's runs where this low pressure sort of slides down the ridge of high pressure here and then sort of goes across there. And if it did that, there'd be a huge snow event through that sort of area. But it is possible, so we just got to keep an eye on that low because we could end up doing a pretty significant snow event based on that before we start to go milder from the ECMWF. GFS looks like this. Winds in from the north. Low pressure tries to get involved. A bit of snow for the Welsh mountains. Plenty of snow showers for the north and east before we start to go milder, wetter, and windier again. Sorry, everyone. UK Met Office looks like this. Once again, that low pressure causing a bit of snow. There is some snow in there. We're going to have to keep an eye on that because if that does, low pressures do trend south. So if that comes off, then there is a chance of some snow. And there you go, there's another one dives in there. End of next week, big snow event for parts of the south. Obviously, that won't be there because they never stay where they look like they're going to. Icon, it looks like this up to as far as we go. That low pressure once again, trying to cause a bit of mayhem, but we'll just have to see what happens with that. So really, the brief outlook is it is going to go cold. Will it snow? We don't know yet. I'll show you the snow row from the GFS. If you're in London, you have got a chance of snow. Take a look. I mean, you probably will see a few flakes. If you're in Aboyne, well, Scottish Islands. If you're in the Scottish Islands, you're definitely getting a bit of snow. It's with this low pressure, this is. And then if you're in Biddulph, in Staffordshire, you are actually in the Midlands. You're probably going to get some snow as well. This time next week. No, not this time next week. Tuesday, Wednesday, I think that is next week. But that's quite good for a snow row on the GFS, about a centimetre there. One's going for 13. I'll be happy with that. What member is that? Should we have a look? Go on, let's have a look. That is GFS member 26. Okay, so now I've got an error. So let's go over to GFS Ensemble number 26 and see why it's giving us 14 centimetres for the Midlands. Here we go. Let's see what happens. So winds are in from the north and does that low? See, I think that's the low pressure there. That just there, that little kink there, I think that's the low pressure. And it looks like it's just sliding across that path, like I said. And I mean, that would be a big snow event if that did come off. Yeah, it looks like it just slides across there. Very, very interesting. I mean, it just ended up going milder, like, but there is a possibility of some pretty hefty amounts of snow for even more southern areas. Very interesting. ECMWF or weeklies are looking like this for the 17th to the 24th of November. High pressure blocking in the North Atlantic. Low pressure has dropped in over Europe, where winds are in from the north. Week 2, it's the 24th to 1st of December. Low pressure's out on the Atlantic. Looks like we're going to win out from the west, even though it's not far off from pulling the winds in from the northeast. Week 3 is the 1st to the 8th of December. High pressure's just blocking and over the country, maybe bringing winds from a southeasterly, maybe a bit of frost in that ridge. 8th to 15th of December, and it gets a bit more interesting. High pressure's over Scandi. Low pressure's probably dropped through here somewhere. What is that drawing? High pressure's over Scandi. Low pressure's dropped through here. Probably got the winds in from an east. which obviously December, if there's cold over Europe. And then 15th to 22nd of December, high pressure sitting up here. Winds are going to be in from a southeasterly, easterly direction. Obviously, it depends if there's any cold over there, which there probably isn't. We want the easterlies from a bit more of that direction, really. So there's a chance. There is a chance, but we'll see. Finally, is there any more? Yeah, 22nd to the 29th of December. Once again, that looks a bit better. High pressure's once again blocking Greenland, Iceland, Scandi, low pressure through there. And I mean, by that time of the year, there's probably a lot of cold sitting over Europe. So that probably would end up being a bitterly cold end. Or middle to end. Just nearly drop something. To December. Zonal winds look like this, and we are actually signifying an SSW for about half an hour, it looks like, before we start the uptrend again. But yeah, we looks like we're going to get an SSW for about 1 day, but the zonal winds are going to be weakened for, well, up to January, which is interesting. That'll increase our chance of blocking and a negative NAO. So favours a colder chance, or colder prospects for the winter. Anyway, I'm done. That is all I've got to show you today. Very interesting charts. We could see a significant snow event next week once again. It is unlikely. At the minute, I say there's about a 30% chance. No, I think there's a 50% chance of a big snow event. And I think there's about a 30% chance it'll be for the south. I think it could end up being anywhere, so we're just going to have to see where it ends up really. Yeah, very interesting indeed. Anyway, thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.